What's up, y'all? I'm Bobby Bouchere. Today we're here on the Overtime Show with my man Roderick.
What's up?
Today's topic, we're gonna talk to y'all about what goes into putting on a successful event. Because that's a very critical topic, especially here locally, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, all those places. You know, more specifically, zydeco's, trail rides, and even, the bars getting into it nowadays. We're gonna talk about what goes into making that event work. And we're gonna get some behind the scene things going, what it takes to go into it, the pros, the cons, the ugly side of it, the good side of it, all of that. So like I said, I got my man Roderick here today. And first of all, before we get started, Roderick, man, I thank you for coming out today.
Hey,
bro,
man, I appreciate you.
You didn't have to be here, brother. And
I appreciate you, man.
you got horses to shoot, horses to feed. You got a son. You got all kinds of stuff. You even got your own show to do. But you here today on my show, and man, I appreciate that. That's how we grow.
I appreciate you inviting me because this is one of the things. I'm a part of one of the largest trail ride clubs in the country, and it's a lot of work. But just the fact that you're actually bringing this to light on your podcast as well as I bring the podcast, it's about the culture.
It is.
And
at the end of the day.
Yeah, and in order to keep the culture alive, we have to do it certain ways.
Right.
And we're going to talk about that. Like, what does it take to keep this stuff going on? So, hey.
Because, and my thing is, what sparked this conversation, a lot of people think I can book Keith Frank. And
They do.
I'm gonna have a good event. I can book this band, that band, just using Keith as an example, but they think I can book this band. I can go pass out a couple of flyers, make a few posts on Facebook, and I'm gonna have 10,000 people there. And it's just not how it works. And I'm not saying that there's not people out there that it may not have worked for, some one-off type stuff, but I guarantee you, within a year or two, those groups are, no longer existent, or their ride is not what it once was.
Yeah.
But it's a whole lot more to, and that's across the board, not even just zydeco. Just booking a good band is not gonna guarantee you that you're gonna make.
No.
You might not even break even, man.
At all.
You have to promote yourself. You have to get your name out there. You have to shake hands with people.
Yeah.
And you have to support other people. What you get, what you put into it. You know. You got to travel. I know for a fact, y'all used to go across all kind of state lines. Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas. I'm talking about North Texas, South Texas, West.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to go mingle with other groups, support those people, because when they see you, they like, I want to go support them now. Like those guys, them cats in Dallas, they fuck with y'all tough.
Yeah, big time. Dallas,
y'all have something, they pull up strong,
Yeah.
but y'all set the tone and y'all went to them. Y'all supported their event year in, year out, all weekend. Promote, sharing it. Just sharing it. It don't cost you nothing to share somebody's post.
No. So a lot of the things that you're saying, that's just, it's facts. I've been doing this for a long time. Even before trail ride was popular, when my dad, because I'm from Southeast Texas, and when my dad was, they were trail riding, and it was old trucks, and it was no party wagons and all that, and there was no social media. So, and there also wasn't 700 trail rides, a year. So, with that is that it was always, we'll get to that. I learned from my dad and all the older guys like, Mr. Stanberry and all those guys, and Lufkin, Mr. John Hampton, all those guys. Even the Dave, Chad, I've been friends with Dave and Chad for a long time. What I learned was, as you said, you have to, when you have an event, right? Mm. Back then, there was no social media.
Right.
So you literally had to go out, shake hands, give the church hugs. Word them out. Touch the babies, and hey, how y'all doing? And just be around and
print out 1,000 flyers.
1,000 flyers, and they will just scribble out on pen, and or you knew someone that worked at the prison, and they made the little buttons, stuff like that. It was like $5 a get in. You got a fish sandwich, or
the whole
barbecue,
thing,
something like that. But nowadays, with social media, which is a blessing and a curse, you can create an event on social media, and you can get 10, 20,000 shares.
Easily.
But with the shares, I've learned in the trail ride and zydeco, with those shares don't always come followers. Because nowadays, even most of the people that come to those events are not your friends.
Oh, absolutely.
Those are people that follow the hype.
Exactly.
So they follow, and promotion is a big thing. And I tell people all this time, don't go book the largest band that you could think of, because just because you book Nate, Chris, Keith, Paul, or whomever you book them doesn't mean that you're going to get that following, because nowadays people don't follow those bands anymore. They follow people.
They follow the name.
They follow people, Now me, if you tell me Keith is playing over there, I'm gonna go see Keith.
I'm gone. I want to go back.
I'm gonna go see Keith.
You
I mean, you tell me Chris is playing somewhere other than in the middle of the week, I'm going to see Chris. I'm going to see Paul. I'm going to see those guys. But when it comes to trail rides, right? Most of the people nowadays, when they come to trail rides, they don't even know what zydeco is.
No, not at all, man. They saw it on TikTok. I thought it was cool. And I would love to go do it. And that's perfectly fine. Like, fine. It's cool. But when in Rome, do as the Romans. Don't come to the ride. You're not really from that, and interject the club ways or the yard party stuff.
Yes.
In the country, everybody's family, everybody's welcome.
Yes.
Hey, you step on my shoes. Hey, you say excuse me.
And we go on.
It's cool. We share a beer. But in the club, it's a little different. You step on my J's, or I gotta shoot you. I gotta fight you. This and that. So it's nothing wrong with not being from this or wanting to experience it, because it's a beautiful experience. We both grew up doing this. Born into it. I'm 30. 30
and
years is a long time to be doing something. I might have been conceived on the trail ride.
And I'm 48. So I've been doing it for a while. 49. Excuse me.
Oh yeah, get it right.
Yeah, get it right.
Ooh,
49.
knocking, boy, you're knocking.
Ooh, man, you see the grade. That's what I say.
It's like, come here. Act like you got some damn sense.
Right.
I don't understand what's so hard about it. When I go to the club, I do what I'm me. I do me.
Do you?
But I'm doing as the Romans. Whatever they do in the club, that's what I'm. I'm vibing. I'm mingling. I'm interacting as I would in that type of setting. So be respectful when you come to the ride. Hey, I know this really not me, but I like it. I'm interested in it. I love the music, because zydeco it's a feel-good music. That's what it is. It's peppy. It's, zydeco se passe lei. It's peppy. It makes you want to move. So I completely understand why somebody would love it. But my thing, one of my biggest things, man, y'all stop all that bullshit, man.
And I'm gonna spin it like this. So you talked about doing the and no shade, nothing against any of the social media platforms, because I am a social media guy.
Right.
But I think what happened was a lot of people outside of our cultural circle, they didn't know anything about this, say, TikTok, right? So what happened, in my opinion, was even the people before COVID, use example, before COVID, it wasn't as bad as it is now.
Right.
But during COVID, you could only go outside.
Right, that's all you could do.
You could outside. So I feel like a lot of people started clubs after that, and they didn't start the clubs because they wanted to enjoy the cultural experience. They saw the culture.
Right.
We are the culture. They saw the culture doing it, and they wanted to do it too. So they brought their club ways or their street ways, created a club and brought it there, and they forgot, like, that's not what we do. So now it's just a spinoff. Now you bring in the club to the trail ride. You got your Bentley parked there. Hey man, can I get parked? It doesn't mix,
man.
It doesn't mix.
It's a time and place for everything.
For everything.
When you're at the club, you jam boost. You listen to those that style of music. When you at the trail ride, everybody's having fun, enjoying themselves, good time. You meeting people. I have lifelong friends and people that I consider family. Such as yourself. Hey, that's family. It's not that type of vibe. It's not that type of party. And I think what went wrong, man, like you said, around the COVID time, but I'll even go back to 2010. 2010 is when I feel like a lot of things kind of went on that downward spiral. Is everybody found out it's a free for all.
Free for all. Yeah.
I can go out here on 100 acres of land and be whoever I want to be. I can smoke my weed. Yep. I can be underage and drink. I can, I can do whatever I want to do. I can be whoever I want to be. All I gotta do is put prayers on my shirt or join a club, and I could,
find you a trail ride girlfriend or boyfriend. Have a whole life outside trail ride.
A whole life, and it's like it's nobody out there really to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
You own wide open property. No, I mean you might have security out there, a few cops or whatever, but the club is enclosed.
Closed, yeah.
This is wide open.
200-300 acres.
Yeah, I mean, you could be whoever you want. Like you got little kids out there, 14, 15, getting toe up.
Yeah.
Not saying that there's anything new under the sun.
No.
Because I used to still be out of coolest too.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
My mom and them didn't drop me off at the ride as a daycare, and I go out there and just get toe up and start fighting people.
No.
At 14, hell, even 18, you're not ready for that. You have not gotten acclimated to that lifestyle yet. It's a lot that comes with it. It's fun. It's cool. Yeah. You enjoy yourself. Smoke, you smoke. Whatever you drink, you drink. Whatever your vice is, cool. Yeah. But learn how to respect it. Respect your environment as well.
Also, I feel like back then, and don't get me wrong, there are still a lot of clubs out here that are family oriented, but most of the trail rides that we were going to back then, if you weren't family, you were not a part of that club.
At all.
You were not a part of that club. I can name hundreds of clubs back then. If you were not family, next door neighbor, or someone, y'all are at the same barn, you were not a part of that club. And there were no outsiders.
I like to go off of that too. A lot of that family orientedness, like a lot of clubs back then were named after your family name.
Your family name.
Or where you were from, the street y'all grew up on.
Yes. Or
the area you were from. Now, you got people naming clubs all kind of weird,
every time,
crazy, buffoon. I mean, just all kind of shit.
I said this years ago. I said, every time a new song comes out, right? That's the name of a club.
And I'm not taking a shot at nobody.
Nobody.
We're not
doing that.
We're not talking.
We're just speaking in general.
We're speaking in general, but there are some wild club names out there. Back in the Gap, you had Three Musketeers. Step and Strut, Barnyard Posse, Crazy Hat Riders, Big 8. All these different clubs. It was like, even like I-49.
I-49,
you had, it was where you were from or your family name. Whitfield Riders, all those guys.
Yeah, all that stuff.
And about, like you said, about 10, years ago, 15 years ago, any rap song that came on the radio, people naming it. I'm like,
hey, that's your thing.
Yeah, it's nothing wrong with it. But it just kind of, it sets the precedent. How you present yourself is how people gonna treat you.
How do you see? Yeah.
And if you named after a crazy ass song or a crazy ass thing that people do, like, again, not taking a shot at nobody, but you got side nigga and side hoe, bitches stable or whatever the name of their group is, and I'm like, it's funny as hell.
It's funny. It's funny.
I give them that. But who gonna really respect you, man? Like, for example, y'all been on TV before.
Yes.
You think they gonna put y'all on TV?
Yeah, I've been on there with Yolanda Adams.
Exactly, like,
Yolanda Adams.
Or what if you decide some years from now, like y'all used to do scholarship?
We still do that.
Who gonna accept a scholarship from side niggas and hoes and all bitches and fuck this and like I said, do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But it's just, think about it.
Think about it. Yeah.
Think about it. Be respectful.
And then, also, even outside of that, I don't think people know what it takes to put a trail ride on.
At all.
So I remember back in the days, right? You have a trail ride. You can go to my dad's yard. Because I remember before Leon got hot.
Oh, yeah.
My dad's a Boozoo fan. And he didn't know that. I guess he thought Leon was Boozoo's grandson, but he's a relative.
Right.
He said, bring that Chavis boy down here. Like, cool. So I brought him to Jasper, and he played in my dad's yard for like $800.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, hey, man, whenever I get to where I can do things, I'm going to make sure wherever I go, you're going to go with me.
Right.
But in my dad's yard, it was free. Right. It was free. That's free. But if you paid my dad like $200, right? You didn't need anything because we're in the country.
Right.
Now, even in the country, when you go to people go to these places, right? They don't understand that. Not saying that trail ride is a business, but you have to look at it as a corporation, meaning that, or working into a facility, or you creating an infrastructure where there's rules, regulations. And I'm not gonna lie. Man, we spend a lot of money on trail rides, and it isn't things that people think, oh, you buying beer, food. The money is spent in property. First and foremost, property.
Yeah, you gotta have a location.
You have to have a location. And then you look at the permits. A lot of people think that you could just throw a ride in these places, especially if it's somewhere that you're not from.
Yeah.
Permits. You have to get permits. You have to get a mass gathering permit.
Oh, yeah.
And depending on what county. Now, by law in the state of Texas, they cannot stop you from riding your horses on the side of the road.
Right.
You just have to obey the laws.
Right.
But also, it's wise to, if you go into the county, get a parade permit.
Yeah.
You got, noise in the permit. The noise permit.
Save yourself some headaches.
It's a headache. Noise, especially you're not from the county. Noise permit, parade permit if you're within the city limits, mass gathering permits. It's a lot that comes with that, and I feel like a lot of people don't know that. So where a lot of people think that it's easy, it's really hard to do it if you do it the right way.
If you're gonna do it right.
If you're gonna do it right, because like we were saying before, we were talking about before the camera came on, you'll take in, just hypothetically speaking, Mark and Roderick were gonna do a trail ride, and you went and took $5,000 out your account, and I took $5,000 out your account, and that's the front money, right? That's to host the event, and we're gonna get our money back at the gate. Right. So what we're gonna do is, because we can afford that, we can pay for stuff and then wait at the money in the end. If we don't make a lot of money, the money's already paid for. Right. Whereas a lot of clubs, they don't have that financial backing or the understanding that you can't get paid off the gate. Because like we were saying with social media, just because someone shares your flyer don't mean they're gonna come. They don't mean they're gonna come.
You can get 100 shares, 20 people show up, man.
Exactly.
I mean, and vice versa. You might get 20 shares and 1,000 people show up, and you be like, man, what the hell? I didn't think nobody was coming. Because it could be a blessing and a curse.
And then I say, because people follow people.
Exactly.
Back in the days, we were going to where those bands were, because it was just the culture. It was just the people, and no one else. If you went to the church, you went to St. Mary's, St. Philip's, St. Francis, St. Martin. You went to those churches, right? Yeah. The vast majority of people that came to that church were the Creoles. Oh yeah. And the people that lived within that community, because the community gave back.
That was your crowd.
And if someone happened to come through there and they ask you or ask me, like, what you doing here? Like, this is our life. And now what they do, they social media, they sharing it with friends, so they're gonna come. Right. But when it comes to trail rides, people are following the hype, and they're following the people. Yeah. If you put a lot of hype behind your event and you're a likable person, people are gonna come. Oh yeah. If you put a lot of hype behind your first event, you put a lot of hype behind and no one likes you, no one's gonna come.
Nobody's coming.
So it goes back to.
That's why I don't have an event, because I talk a lot of shit on social media, so I stay in my lane.
But you do have an event, and I'll say this: Mark is kind of modest.
If that's what you will call it. I'm gonna go with it.
He has a company. He has his own personal company. It's called Creole Rentals. Yeah. And this is what I'm saying. This is my friend. Yeah. As crazy as I am and crazy as we friends. Like, sure. He called me on the phone. Like, first of all, and I'm gonna tell you, I don't go in people's house. Yeah. And I tell people I don't go in no one's house. Right. But you single man. So I came. But if you were married, girlfriend, I'm not coming here. We gotta do it outside. Yeah, we gotta do it outside. But the thing about what I'm saying is, friends support friends. I would just randomly wake up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I can look on social media, somebody say, oh, I need some party supplies. I don't say contact whoever, I say Creole Rentals. Yeah. Share flights, stuff like that. So it's every time. And he looking on it, I'm like, dang, thank you. Like, bro, I'm supposed to do that. So social media is a blessing to us. Yeah. Whereas some people, they don't care. They ain't sharing that flyer, whatever, or they don't like what you're doing because they feel like you're successful, which is in the trail ride. They're not going to share. Some people will look you in the face, shake your hand, and then when it comes to trail ride stuff, they don't share it because they feel like either you're inferior, you're inferior to them, or they feel like it's some type of animosity. Bro, it's a trail ride. You, like I said, you get what you put out. Exactly. But it all goes back. You have to. Nowadays there's a thin line. And if you can't straddle the fence either way, you have to do it the right way. Because if you and I put up 10,000, we want to make $10,001 back. Right. And that's just to get our money back. Yeah. And we still lost because look how many events we went through during the week. Look how much our cell phone bill, just the cell phones.
If you pull the camera.
So that's a lot just to get to that point. But you have to do it the right way. And a lot of people don't understand that. And again, I say this all the time. I don't knock anyone that does security officers. I don't knock them because I feel like every event needs a security officer.
Yeah.
But you also need to hire the police. You have to, and I have some friends, I'm not gonna mention their name on here, that are constables and sheriffs. I'm not gonna mention their name, but even if we go to, say, Barrett, right?
Right.
We say we were to go to Barrett. I'm not gonna hire my friend that's an officer in Bryan.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hire the officers that are in Precinct 3.
Right. That's the area.
We go to Bryan, LaGrange, wherever we go. When we go to LaGrange, we hire their police.
Yeah.
Right? Because now if something was to happen in that area, they already alert.
Yeah.
They're aware of that.
Yeah.
Whereas some people, they have these events and they just get a security officer.
Right. Nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with that. Do it how you do it. But also, we live in a funny world today. Today is kind of crazy. Well, people don't respect the police. If they don't respect the police, they're not going to respect those officers.
At all. So, I mean, when you see that security, you're like, who are you? He's just a regular dude. He just put security on the back of the shirt.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, I'm not knocking you security officers, but I'm just saying, like, all of you that are watching this or going to watch this, hire the police that are within your area. If you're in, wherever you go, whatever county, hire the police that are in that county and bring security. And I say bring some security officers because the police aren't there to pat and search people.
Right.
That's the security job and they work together. But so we do that. But man,
and I want to say this too, man. You know, cops have authority in those areas, in that precinct. That security can't take nobody to jail.
No, we can't. No,
I'm gonna piggyback off that. Stop putting. If you fight, you go to jail, and then when people fight, don't nobody go to jail.
So look,
send them to goddamn jail.
We make an example.
Used to have a stock trailer, and would cuff you in there and leave you out there while everybody else partying. At the end of the night, they haul your ass off.
Yeah, we're big on that. We're making an example because you got to think about it. I'm an old man now. I have grandkids. When I go to an event, I want to make sure, which I don't take my grandkids out to those events. But, you know, say I take my old lady, you know, a man call a woman his old lady, he go crazy behind her. Say I'm out there with my old lady.
Girlfriend, old lady, two different things.
Yeah, girlfriend, old lady, two things. I'm out there with my old lady. And say if I got my grandkids out there, and we got the kids out there, I don't want to have to be concerned about, is this security officer going to stop something? Again, I'm not knocking you security guards, but I want to know that I can go stand by the police. Another thing is people always say, man, you know everybody. No, what I do is I'm sociable. Man, you be in the VIP. No, I go stand where I know it's least likely for something to happen. I'm going to go stand by the band. And of course, like I know all y'all. I know all the band. And I'm going to go stand by the DJ because it's least likely for something to happen over there. I'm not standing.
I got an exit route. If something happens, hey, I'm boom. I'm never in the front. I'm never in the middle. I'm always on the outside somewhere. Hey, if I need to move around, I can move around quickly.
And then, you know, even with that, I feel, and I say this all the time too, it's dangerous out here. And it's YNs, ONs, whatever.
That. All that.
But I'm gonna tell you why it's dangerous to me. Because we don't police our people. And when I say police our people, if I go somewhere and I know I can cut up, I used to cut up, Mark goes somewhere, cut up, whatever. But if I see Mark and I say, hey man, don't do it right now, don't do it. Mark see me say, right, don't do it. So we can talk each other, man, you know what, you right, let's get on, because we have careers and things to do. Whereas a lot of the younger generation and even the older generation, they have no fear of anything. They will go out there and act a fool. And it's like, if you call me Unc, or you call me your brother or big brother, I should, that's to me, that's a sign of respect.
That's respect.
So I feel like if you respect me that much, then I'm gonna give you the same respect. So when I see you acting a fool, hey man, come on, bro. Listen, man. Man, bro, listen.
All right.
We got two ways to get out of here.
You're diffusing the situation,
man.
You know? And most of the time it ain't even really all that serious. It's not even about that. But what kills me about shit like that, and this is everywhere. Y'all get into it Tuesday.
Yes.
Why are you waiting till Saturday to pop off? Y'all could have met up Tuesday. If I get into it with Roderick on a Tuesday, I want to fight you today. When I go out that Saturday, I'm drinking, I'm partying. Man, I ain't worried about you no more. I already forgot about that. Don't go mess up nobody's event, you know, with that foolishness, trying to look hard or look tough or prove a point. Or now you got your Power Rangers behind you. And, you know,
they
like,
hype
man,
me up. And I don't even want to get to that. Because, again, if I get into it with you, first of all, I'm too old to be getting into it with anybody. But if I was to get into it with you, man, I got a bag full of boxing gloves, a bag full of mixed martial arts stuff. Right. Yeah, I'm a little old, but I still move around a bit. Let's get in the horse trailer.
Yeah.
So and then I don't drink. So but after we finish banging each other up, let's go get some drink, get something to eat,
get a beer.
because it's all settled.
Right.
But nowadays, the older generation, and I'm gonna tell y'all, the older generation, man, y'all don't speak up. And yeah, some of y'all probably say, Roger, I don't see you act a fool. You probably have. Yeah. But I didn't start it. Someone probably was antagonizing me, and I had to step up to defend myself.
I don't start it, but I do.
I ain't gonna start it. I
do believe in finishing.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna do it with a club shirt on either.
Yeah.
But it's at the point now where it's like, why do we even have to get to that? Like, what is so bad that I have to go to someone's event and act a fool?
She said something about me on Facebook.
Oh my God, I ain't worried about that.
Like, come on, man. Like,
they talk about this every day. I ain't worried about
like, okay, people. Been talked about several times on Facebook. More times than I care to admit.
Me
but
too.
You know, the thing is, if you really, your character gonna always speak volumes.
Yes, it's gonna speak volumes.
So if you really living right, you on your grind, you in your bag, whatever the latest term is, people gonna see that.
They gonna see.
You know, they can see. They can be like, you know, on Facebook, such and such said this, but look what they doing. And look what Mark doing. Like. Yeah. He obviously progressing and moving forward. Look what Roger doing. He ain't even respond to it. He kept going and moving on forward. You know, he's still doing his thing. Yeah. But like I said, for me, bro, if we get into it on a Tuesday, I want to fight you Tuesday. Yeah, I'm not gonna go mess up nobody's event, and I'm not even waiting that long to be mad. Or if it's still some animosity, hey man, we can go down here. Yeah. And a lot of these rides are in big fields. Man, we don't have to do this on the dance floor. Hey bro, me and you, we still at it. Cool.
Go across that little
we can go way. It's plenty of grass over here. You know, let's go over here. We don't have to. We don't have to tear up nobody's event. Yeah. You know, and act a fool like that because for what? Why?
Yeah. You know, another thing I also have come to grasp about these trail rides, not trail rides, just events. Period. Is that, and again, this isn't a shot at anybody. I mean, I don't duck, dodge, bar, or run for no conversation, fight or whatever. But I think a lot of stuff, everyone has latched on to the culture. Yeah. Outside of the culture. And it's fine. Culture, I feel like this, like your podcast and my podcast, we are at the crossroads. Especially you, because you're younger than me.
Right.
But growing up in this culture, and now we're at the crossroads. Yeah. And we can literally, with these podcasts, we can make a decision to say what's right or wrong, and using these podcasts as a voice to reach out to people to let them know.
Definitely.
Now, with that being said, I'm going to say this. Being that we stand at the crossroads, and we been there, you know, something that really kind of gets me is that we are and have always been a part of the culture. Trail ride, zydeco, Creole culture. We've always been a part of that. But nowadays, everyone, and again, you can help push the culture on. But what gets me is that when these clubs, right, these venues like, say, Tommy's Tavern, books a zydeco band in the middle of the week, like on a Tuesday. And we used to go to Clayton's, but
right.
I feel like that is also hurting the trail ride community. It's hurting the churches to a certain extent, because you have these taverns and these places, and nothing against them, because Clayton's, but you think about it. We used to go to Clayton's on Tuesday. Yeah. There was no zydeco on Monday. Yeah. Clayton was on Tuesday. It was something for us to do on Tuesday. Yeah. Nothing to do on Wednesday. And Thursday, we went to the Silver Eagle. Right. Friday, we went to the church. Yeah. If it was a church dance or ICU, or if it was only 20 big trail rides really, really going on. And that trail ride was Friday and Saturday. So we went to that event Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday we ain't do anything. Clean up all this stuff, and we start all over again.
Right.
Nowadays, I feel like people are booking these bands, and I'm not, y'all are my brothers. If they call you on a Monday to play for $20,000, go get your $20,000. Matter of fact, and send me $2,000 so I can help you promote it. Because I'm not going out on a Monday.
Right.
But it's also, if you look at it like this, so if I have, or you and I, we have Chris on Friday, and it's $20, the people that don't have a job gonna go see Chris or whomever on Monday for free. So now it's taken away from the culture, because this tavern, they don't care what you got going on. They don't care. So then when the people that are really a part of this, it's like, dang, man. So now I want to book one of I want to book the bands for the weekend for our event, but now it's like, should I book this band for this event when they just saw it for free?
Right.
So it's like, and I'm not saying, hey, y'all tavern owners or bars, whatever, y'all do your thing. Hey, I show up on Sundays sometimes. But it's like, I feel like it's hurting. Now, it's not hurting the band's pockets unless they not getting paid. Which goes back to that. It takes money to host this stuff. Not gate money. You have to have that front money.
You have to.
But if I don't want, and I've said it to one or two of the bands that I'm really, really close to, I was like, man, why you book me? I said, bro, I can't book you. Like, why? I said, because you just played Tuesday, or you just played Friday right here. So I can't book you for Saturday
that
because
causes burnout. You know, especially if now it's inevitable if you become hot in a certain area or a certain state.
Get your money.
And people on you, hey, if they book you Tuesday through Sunday, hey man, and they coming out, by all means. But that horse ain't gonna run long.
No.
You know, if you got a band playing here Tuesday, for example, you got him at Few Lounge this day, and then he's at Royalty this day, and then he's at the church this day, then he's at the Ride this day, and then now he's over here at Prospect or wherever, just as an example, on this day. That's 4 or 5 days in a week, and then next weekend all over again. People gonna be like, damn man, you know, I done seen this, you know, can we get somebody else? And as a musician myself, I want to see other people play. Like, give somebody else a chance to get up there. You know, there's a lot of good up and coming bands right now.
I'm big on that. I like.
It's more than just 3 bands out there. You know,
because I can only play like 2 buttons. But I like to see. Those the younger bands coming up playing. But I also tell them, and I just said this because I heard it as well from someone else. Like, it's okay for you to play your own music. But when you're young and you don't have, because I tell my son all the time, he's like, Dad, I said, no, you need to just learn the foundation music. Like the Boozoo, the Bojack, the Johns, the stuff like, depending on what accordion you play, learn the foundation first, and then you can add your flavor to it. And make it and do it your way. But a lot of these younger bands, they want to, I don't mind bringing them out there, but it's like, I can't bring you out there if you're going to play Paul's full set, Nate's full set, Keith's full set, Nooney's full set.
And then you got his band on stage with you. Like you know, Paul might have had a weekend with Paul or Chris or whoever. Band was off, and you got his whole band, and you playing all his music. And you know, and everybody starts somewhere. You know, everybody grew up idolizing somebody. You know, I idolized the hell out of my cousin Brian. You know, when I was a kid. You know, no, Brian Jack. But it's like everybody grew up. But get your own groove. You know,
I'm a Bojack fan.
You know, I'm a Bojack. You know, I could sing his whole catalog backwards and forwards, but you know, have your own style, man. You got build your band. You know, it's nothing like, I remember as a kid, we were just hungry to play, man. We just wanted to play. You know, we weren't going rent because back then the guys that played with the big bands, unless you just knew them, they not come and play with you. Now it's about money. Shoot, he paid, so I went to play. Which, by all means, get your money to the keyboard and the drummers and all. Hey, whoever paying, get your money. But to all the new zydeco players and accordion players, learn your craft, man. Learn how to sing. You know, learn the damn accordion, and
Yeah.
You know, I don't care if you go buy the biggest, baddest speakers in the world, man.
If you can't set it.
Yeah, if what's coming out of them ain't worth the damn, nobody cares. And stop
cares.
trying to charge top dollar and you've been playing 2 months.
Yeah.
You know, it goes back to the church. Everybody thinks they can make a lot of money off a trail ride. There's people that think, man, them zydeco niggas making money. They see where Rusty is now, where Chris is now, but they didn't know where they were back in 2001. 1998, however long ago.
Or how many times they actually pulled up to the gate and played and couldn't get paid.
Yeah, how many times have those bands got burnt? You know, how many times had those bands had a musician that was late or dealt with a musician that had a not so good musician and they had to build him up or wait until a better musician was available to play with them. But they built it up. They went through the struggle. You know, a lot of people see what they have, the assets. You know,
they don't see what
it took to get there, man. Like, yes, you can make money playing zydeco, but your sole reason for playing zydeco should not be money. Just like giving a ride or an event, your sole purpose for giving that event should not be, I can make a bunch of money.
Whew, Lord, let me tell you, because a lot of people see we do like 2 rides.
Right.
Yeah. We do like the warm-up ride. That's just something because it's in the neighborhood.
Right.
And we do that in the neighborhood because a lot of people can't afford to travel so far.
Right.
So you have an event in the city, in the neighborhood.
Right.
It ain't we don't have any foolery. Now we had a little situation last year, but it wasn't us. The way we went on the route and we came out the park, somebody was didn't have anything to do with the trail ride, but something happened by a house and we had to get back. But we had one of the largest rides in the country.
Easily.
But before we got to that, you know how many laws we took? Man. Oh my goodness. And that's the thing.
I remember when the blue and yellow first come out,
Oh,
man.
my
A long
God.
time ago. It was
And I wasn't even and running, I've been friends for years. 20 years.
Right.
I ain't gonna say 20 years, about 15. Yeah, almost 20 years.
Yeah.
But since I came home from the military. But you take a lot of losses. And a lot of these clubs and even the bands, they're assuming that it's free range to just grab a bunch of money, but you're gonna take a whole lot of losses before you get there. And again, it all starts with now, especially nowadays, it's all about how you doing it the right way. Permits. Police and security, police security.
Right.
And being accessible to the public.
Right.
You and I have been friends forever. Greet each other every time we see each other, and guess what? We talking through Facebook.
Yeah.
But I think we always on Facebook.
Right, yeah.
But you can reach me and I can reach you and we go out in public. There's no one that can't walk up and talk to us.
Right.
A lot of these people start these clubs, these new groups, and they stand in the huddle with their group and they don't mix and mingle with the people that are supporting. Because again, people don't follow groups, they follow people. If they don't like you, no matter how much money you put in, they're not going to follow you. I know plenty of people that have had events and you would think that it's going to be jumping off the wall and they have some of the biggest name bands or whoever, and it don't be 40 people in there.
Nobody there.
Oh my goodness. And you be like, dang. And they be like, man, what happened?
Yeah.
And I just shake my head and say, hey bro, people don't like you.
Yeah.
What you mean? They don't like you because they don't know you.
Right.
You're not a people person.
Yeah.
You're not a people person. And because you're not, or you did something to someone that made them and send it around their little social chat but you have to be a likable person. Again, people follow people. They don't follow events, they follow people.
They do.
They follow people and the hype. If you feed it the hype and you make it seem like it's larger than life, if you're a people person, you're gonna get that.
Yeah.
If you're not a people person and you make it larger than life, they're not gonna fool with that. And location is key too.
Yes, you have. It's a few things that go into the recipe for a good event.
Yeah.
Number one is a good location.
Location.
You have to have I prefer a known location.
Yes.
Somewhere that people already know.
Yes.
Now, there's nothing wrong with you found a good spot and you build it up, but you got to take what comes with it. It may take you a year or two, one or two events before people catch on.
Has to be accessible.
Right, it has to be accessible to where you at. But for example, if I say we having a dance at ICU, everybody already know where that's at. Like, I don't have to do a whole lot of hustle and bustle because it's a known spot. Then After that, who's gonna be there?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's up to the individual who
Yeah,
you want
who
to
you wanna
get, you know, whatever, this and that. There are people that do draw better crowds than others.
Yeah, they do.
But depending on you, I like to book people that fit my demeanor.
Yes.
You know, or
glad you said that
my
too.
theme.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, you know, my theme. If I'm having an old school night, I'm gonna book an old school band.
Yeah.
Step, what you doing?
I love him.
Keith, what you doing?
The
You
Creole
know,
Troop.
somebody that's gonna fit that bill.
Yeah.
If I'm doing, you know, sundress and cigars, it's a little more retro, a little more laid back. Chris, what you doing? Nate, what you doing?
Yeah.
Because that fits the tone.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not to say that you can't book whoever you want.
to.
But you know, once you got a good location, you got a band that fits your style, your theme, whatever. Then you got to start looking at, well, damn, how am I put all this together? You know,
Yeah.
who do I trust to be at the game? Because you're only one person. You can't be everywhere.
No.
You can have a group, but
Even in the group, you have to be able to
you
trust
have
those
to
people.
be able to trust people. Who's going to, that's a lot of money being exchanged hand in hand. You know, so who do I trust to do this? Okay, I need security.
Yeah.
You know, because most places require you, when you rent their facility, it's in the permit to have a certain amount. If you're serving alcohol, you got to have a certain amount of security, or whatever the maximum occupancy is, you know, whatever. So you need to have somebody that's going, you know, in case something do pop off, you wanna have, people want to feel safe, especially nowadays more than ever, man. Like the whole Mamu thing and all other stuff. People want to feel secured where they're going. They want to feel safe, and you know, you have to. It's a huge investment all the way around, man. Because if you really want to do something big, just those three things right there, you're looking at easily, depending on what you're doing. There's some variables. That could be easily 80, 90 grand right there.
And the gate hadn't even opened up yet.
Yeah, you ain't even opened up. And then you still got to clean up trash. You got to find some local, less fortunate people to help you clean up the trash. You know, because nobody's going to feel like doing it Sunday morning. Yeah. But you're going to have to, you got to get, you know, then if you're going to sell your own beer, are we going to do beer tickets? Are we going to sell beer straight out of here? Are we going to get a one-day alcohol permit? Yeah. You know, it's a lot of things. You know, are we going to allow vendors to come in? Yeah. How many of what vendor, you know, it's so many things that go into it that people just really do not know.
They don't know.
You know, everybody sees the finished product. Oh, Real Deal had a nice ride.
But they don't see how it got there.
They don't see, and then timing. If you want to have a nice event, you got to start planning that shit 4-5 months in advance. Because you, first of all, you want to have everything solidified, and then you want to have your flyer or your post in front of people. I say at least 2 months in advance. Yeah. You putting it on their mind, because what if somebody taking vacation? Hey, I'm gonna take vacation. If you coming out with something 3-4 weeks, it's not saying it won't be successful, but you taking a chance. Versus if I knew about this 2 months ago, I'd already made plans to go to this ride. First weekend in November every year, I know where I'm going.
Stepping straight. And
then the weekend after that, I'm going to Estonia.
Wild Bus.
It was an every year thing. The big ride, February. I take vacation. So if people, when you build that name and you secure that date, that weekend, that location,
build on it.
You can't, you can't really help.
And don't jump around.
If you can help it, don't jump around. You know,
stay on that weekend.
Yeah, stay on that weekend. You know, and try to refrain from competing with people. You know, and it's hard not to do when you got 1,000 rides a year.
Yeah, because I know, like you said, back then it's 52 weeks in a year, and there was probably 2 rides on that weekend, and it was going to be one here. Yeah. And the thing about it, like how, and I said to somebody, Texas and Louisiana are 2 states that are so Texas and so Louisiana. Yeah. They love Texas and Louisiana, but they sisters and brothers. Right. Or brothers and sisters, because check this out. What a lot of the new people don't know. Whenever there's a trail ride going on, if it was a trail ride going on in Texas, right? Our trail rides were Friday and Saturday. Right. In Louisiana, it was Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. So it was one of those things where, say, if it was of course, no one ever competed with BYP. And
Big A.
All those big you know not to have a ride on it. Yeah, so the thing about it was that, say, Crazy Hat had something. So if we know that Crazy Hat, big shout out to Michael Pete. If Crazy Hat had something, it was going to be Saturday and Sunday. Right. So I may not. They may come over here Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
They may come over here Friday because every trail ride then was 2 days.
Yeah.
And then we'll ride on Saturday, and we put our horses up. And sometimes we leave the horse in the trailer and go straight to Louisiana. But the ride started early over there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
8 o'clock is over. Everybody going on.
Yeah.
But the thing about that is, unlike today, unlike you and I are family, we brothers, we friends, we partners.
Right.
Texas and those guys over there, and the guy and the family over here, we all got along. Nowadays, people don't care.
Nah.
They don't care. You could been having your ride for 40 years.
They don't care.
On today's date. A new club pop out tomorrow. I don't care. They old.
Yeah.
Hey, do your thing.
Yeah.
But if that ride's been going on for 40 years, say like Liz Cook, I would never go up against Liz Cook. Even
Betty
with
Love.
Betty Love, even with us having Real Deal, I wouldn't go against that. It's not that to say that you can't create your own lane on that day. But bro, Lord, you taking that's risky.
A hell of a chance, man.
And when I'm playing with my money, I don't play with my money.
I don't play with my food. I don't play with my money.
No, I don't know. So those are risky, but we all got along.
Yeah.
Nowadays, people don't care. If you look at, like, I have that page, it's called Trail Rides International.
Right.
Man, it's like 20, 30,000 people in there. And you will see just Texas alone, from North Texas, down here in Southeast Texas, Central Texas, and that's just Texas alone, man. You may have 5, 6 events going on one day. And then with the success of TikTok, you add those rides that we would never probably had saw.
Right, yeah, never knew about.
They way up there in Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, North and South Carolina. They having trail rides over there, so it's a lot going on. So even with it going on, it's like, be mindful when you hosting your event, because I'm not in competition with anybody, because I'm gonna be me regardless. But I don't want to just inadvertently step on someone's toes. And it's not about stepping on toes either. It's just about, I'm not gonna risk all my money knowing that, if I'm new, knowing that I gotta go up against, you know what I'm saying,
somebody that's established. You know?
Yeah, no, I'm not, no. Listen, let me call, hey, Mark, how many generations you got? Oh, I got 15. Man, I just got 10. So listen, what I'm gonna do is, I ain't trying to take your business because I know you have more stuff over than me. But hey, let's do this and we're gonna knock it in the head. Boom, get along. Meaning that, hey, Mark, I know y'all event today. Give me some idea what I should do. Because if you know, I'm only gonna have a dance. I don't want to have a ride. And you just having a ride. Okay, well, cool. Do your dance that day.
Right.
Because I'm having a ride. That's what I do with Young Guns. Like, I don't care what you doing Fridays.
Yeah.
You can do something on Saturdays, but we don't do things for 2 days. We do it one day.
Right.
So it's beneficial to us.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, a lot of people don't see it. They just want to throw an event. And you end up in the red because of preparation. And like I said, it goes back to, even with the preparation, man, you got to get those permits, because even when you get a permit, right, and you're going to spin it back around, but those permits, people don't know. When you get a permit, says Mass Gather permit, it tells you everything that you need to do.
Everything.
And a lot of people fail because they don't get that permit. If you get a mass gathering permit, first of all, it's going to let the police know within the area, the precinct yard, there's something going on. So they're already aware. So when they get these erroneous calls by these neighbors who live 17 miles away, but they just want to have something to fuss about, ain't never came down that street.
Never.
The sheriff in that county already knows.
Yeah.
Or the constable in that precinct already knows. When it comes to the noise permits, the people in your neighborhood, they already know. And being that you hire the officers within your area, when someone complains about the noise being X amount of decibels, when the patrol officer on that shift comes over there, he's gonna see his counterpart, and he's gonna say, well, here's the permit. Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. You know, turn it down. But you come over there and you don't have it. Hey, man. You know, even with the riding horse in the country, they can't stop you from riding horses on any public access road. The only thing they don't want you to do is ride your horses on the side of the freeway. Right. Which that's dangerous. Yeah. You have to obey the traffic laws, but they can't stop you from riding a horse. But also be mindful, if you're in the city limits, get a parade permit. Yeah. Parade permit, what that does, like in Houston, you get a parade permit that lets the officers know that the ride is going to come on this block, and you have to have it a route. It's going to come on this street to this street, so they'll know that hey, we need you to come out. Then they're going to let you know you need to come out at this time, and you need to go this route, this route. That way you won't impede the traffic. Say if they have the metro, you don't want to impede the metro or the rapid transit. You don't want to impede the transit, and you don't want to be caught at the red light when the freaking transit is here and you got horses blocked up. Those people trying to get to work. Right. So it's stuff like that. Even if you do have a ride in the city, take the back streets. Yeah. Everybody want.
It's still a few.
Everybody want to be seen.
Right.
No, take the back road. If you go on the back street, you have less chances of someone messing with you. Right. But it's just about structure. People don't, and they say that trail ride is turned into a business. I don't think it's turned into a business, but you have to look at it as if it's use the infrastructure of a business. Yeah. Everyone has to play their part.
You have to.
Everyone has to play their part. Mark, you can't be the owner, the CEO, the CFO, and the accountant. You can't be that, because now who's in control? Yeah. You have to find people that you can trust within that infrastructure so that everyone has a position. No one is over no one. I need to be able to say, hey, Mark, what's going on? Hey, I already talked this. The vendors come and go talk to Roderick. Okay, the band come and go talk to Mark. Right. Oh, we need to get the security in, go talk to Big Mark. Everybody has a position. Yeah. Whereas, because no shot at anybody, but I never understood why people put names on that shirt. My name is on my shirt. Yeah. My name. It doesn't say founder, co-founder, moderator, CEO, CFO.
Oh, they got 1,000 positions.
And my thing is and I'm not knocking. Hey, you can be whoever you want to be in this world. Yeah. But it's like you have the name on your shirt, but do you carry the weight, or are you prepared, or can you execute the duties that come with that? Because if you're the president, then you should be able to make executive decisions.
Very much so.
If you're the moderator, you should be able to speak to these people in public. If you're over the vendors, you should be able to set these vendors up and know that everything has to be dressed according to the fire marshal, 10 by 10. Right. 10 feet, you have 10-foot easement. Right. Trailers need to be 10 feet apart. Everyone that has a propane tank, they need to have a fire extinguisher this size, this. The gas shouldn't be stored next to the generator. The gas shouldn't be, but it goes back to people don't have permits. Right. When we have Real Deal, we literally go up there almost 2 weeks in advance. And even up to the date, Ronnie, myself, and the other members, we're creating, I'm gonna use the engineering word, y'all know I'm engineering. Schematics, right? I have a diagram. I literally, when you walk in there, if just say the fire marshal was coming and say, hey, what's going on? I literally have a piece of paper that I've drawn out. And I say, hey, this is it. Yeah. Show you all the X's, the entrances, this, how many meters it is, or how many foot there is per trailer, stuff like that. But then you'll have an event where you'll have people just throw an event out there, and then you don't understand why you're getting shut down because you didn't follow protocol. Right. You have to go by. That's what those permits for. So we're big on the permits and stuff like that. And again, I can't say it enough. Whenever you're having these events, man, talk to the people go talk to the city. Yeah. Go talk to the county. Because a lot of these places we having these events, your event could be the largest thing that ever happened in that community. Right. And if you get the community involved, you have less problems.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Look at the Houston Livestock Show Rodeo, been going on for years. Yeah. The whole city and outside of the city is involved because of the way people do things. Look at, all these major rides. We involve the city, the counties, and now we have less problem because they're all a part of that. But when you don't follow the protocols,
you just pop up somewhere and they're like, man, what the hell?
They're gonna shut you down.
Yeah, like with the quickness, because it's like, what are you doing here? I don't know nothing about your event. You don't know nothing about your event. I'm getting all these calls. You know, I see cars lined up and down the road. I see, you know, I see hundreds of teenagers that look like they ain't old enough to be drinking, walking around with bottles in their hand. Where is the structure? Where is the order?
And I've said this, and I think I didn't want people to take it the wrong way or misunderstand what I was saying. When I said this years ago, I said eventually we're gonna come to the part where trail riders are gonna dwindle down, and you have to pay to play. Yeah. And some people were like, oh, that means because y'all got money. It ain't about having money. What I mean pay to play is that you're going to have to put up money, whether it's from your own account or it's from your years of having an event. You're going to have to, it's going to pay to play, meaning that it's going to be so expensive. Yeah. Meaning with the property, the permits, the officers, the security, and all that stuff. If you don't have that, and some of these counties, they want that money up front, $15,000, $16,000 before you even start, just to know. And a lot of, and we've ran into that, and even outside of just, because I do other stuff too, other events, but even outside of that, they'll give you a ridiculous number.
Oh yeah.
They give you a ridiculous number. And then me, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's $10,000 to have this over here. Okay.
Yeah.
You want cash? You want a cash or check or what?
Yeah.
And then they look at you like, wow, like, no, it's coming to my pocket.
Right.
Or whatever. And then after that, people like, oh, y'all had all this. Oh, y'all made $100,000. Man, it was $80,000 to put that on, because you know why? And you know why it was $80,000 to put that on? And you might walk away with what you put in back because of the aftermath.
Yeah.
And when I say the aftermath, you got to clean up. You have neighbors that don't even live in the area. They gonna call in and say, you knocked the mailbox over. We didn't even go down that street.
You didn't go down that street.
You didn't go down the road. You knocked the mailbox over.
Right.
You're gonna have the city saying that it was trash all in the ditch. You might go
send the street sweepers down there.
and you might go over there and that trash been in that ditch for 40 years. Man, we ain't have no pots and pans and tires over here. You know, you may have someone that's careless and, you know, give their horse a heat stroke. Horse die and they lead the horse. So now we got to deal with that. And then,
that has happened.
Yeah, a bunch of times.
Yeah, a bunch of times.
And then after that, a month or so after that, you have another person may call that own the property. Not saying it happens, but there has been instances, a person that may own the property say, oh, man, I was walking my fence and I saw somebody cut my fence. Bro, it ain't no interest over there by that fence. So it's a lot. So if you don't have that upfront money, or you aren't using that money to finance the next event, I mean, you could take your profits out, but if you know if it costs you $40,000 this year, it's gonna cost you $50 next year.
Easily.
Especially if it's a janky land.
It doesn't get cheaper.
No, it doesn't.
It only goes up. It doesn't get cheaper.
Even if you had a free event, it's still gonna cost you $10,000.
Still gonna cost.
Man, trail ride, and you know another thing, I hear people say, oh, trail rides not like they used to be. I'm gonna tell y'all something about trail rides, how it used to be. Do y'all know that trail ride is the same today as it was yesterday? Meaning that when I was a kid, right, they were still fighting the trail ride. They were still fighting. They were still getting drunk. They were still tearing up people's stuff. Yeah. But the reason that it wasn't known because there wasn't social media. No one was recording it.
Right.
Yeah, nobody was recording it. But it was going on because I've been around.
Oh, there's nothing new under the sun.
There's nothing new. It's just the fact that social media and those camera phones are what makes it.
It's much more publicized now.
It's visible.
And another notable difference to that was, you know, people fought back then. Yeah. You know, people drank, underage drink. All that's been going on. But outside of social media, another difference was nobody was trying to kill nobody.